Hello there, today I'm going to be doing a walkthrough on how to use CarbunclePlushy's fish tracker for Final Fantasy XIV. This is an excellent tool that many of us in the fishing community use. It greatly helps players who are working on fishing achievements, particularly with regards to big fish. It clearly presents a majority of the relevant information and allows us to better optimize and organize the information required to go for that process. Each row of a fish will display most of the relevant information, in this case, the name and icon of the fish, the availability, if the window is currently open or not, the location you need to go to catch the fish, its conditions, and which bait to use. Fish that are currently open and available to be caught in-game will have this blue background and will appear at the top of the window, while fish that are not yet available will be in this gray background and appear below the fish that are currently available. One of the nice things about this site is that this availability already takes the conditions into account for us and will calculate how long a window will last or when the next window will be. In this case, we can see that Archerfish closes in 9 hours, and a timestamp is given in your computer's local time for when that window will expire. And for fish that are not currently active, a timestamp is given in your local time for when the window will start. To go a little bit into more details, starting with this bait column, hovering over the icon of the bait will tell you the name, and next to the bait you will see the bite strength you are looking for. In this case, for Carp Diem, this is 3 exclamation points here, and it will also tell you the hook set you need to use if you are using Patience. Some fish do require mooching, and in those cases, the entire sequence of fish you need to mooch together is listed in this bait column. So in this case, for Circa tilapia, this first set of information is telling you what you need to do in order to catch the next fish. And you would then use this set of information in order to catch the big fish, or the next fish in the chain if it is a longer chain. Fish that require the Fisher's Intuition buff to catch will display this Fisher's Intuition icon as well as the time of the intuition next to their bait column, and below that fish will list all relevant fish you need to catch first in order to trigger that Fisher's Intuition. In addition to the name, the location column also has a map that you can click if you are unsure where to find a specific fishing hole, and it will pull up a map to show where to find that in the world. It also has a clickable link of the name, and clicking this link will bring you to the Teamcraft page for that fishing hole, which is useful if you want a further statistical analysis of the fish distribution in that hole. The availability column, in addition to showing the current window, will also give you this indication of when the next window after the current one will begin. Clicking on this little calendar icon will show you the next 10 windows, as well as how long each window lasts in this duration, and how long in between windows there are in this downtime column. Some other useful information that is presented in each of these rows. This little icon here indicates that a fish requires a folklore book bought with gathering scripts in order to obtain this fish. This little YouTube icon here will link to a YouTube guide, usually by Fruity Snacks, that gives a more detailed explanation on some of the techniques we have to catch that fish. This little icon here is indicating a fish is an aquarium fish and will indicate the size and water type used by that fish. And lastly, this collectability icon will let you know if a fish is a collectible. You can also be aware that by clicking this little clock icon in the conditions column, you can generate an in-game alarm that will tell you when the fishing window is about to begin. Once you have caught a fish, you can go over to the left side here and click this check mark that will indicate that you have caught the fish and turn the background green. Right underneath this check mark is a pin. Clicking a pin will bring that fish to the very top of the page and will remain there whether the fish is available or unavailable. If I go ahead and pin this unavailable fish, it will still be brought to the top of the page. There are also a few very important advanced options. These can be found by clicking this gear icon on the top right of the page. Doing so will bring up this window here. You may notice that there are some white rarity fish displayed by default. You can change the site to only display big fish by clicking this row here and choosing big fish. You can also choose whether to only display collectible or aquarium fish, but most people will want to click this big fish option here. When you check a fish as complete, you can see it is remaining on the page, and most of the time you will want fish you have caught to no longer be on the page. This can be changed by clicking display uncaught here. And this will remove a fish from the list once you have marked it as caught. If I go ahead and click check on VIP Viper, it has disappeared because I no longer need to catch this fish. One other important toggle to know about is this check mark that says hide always available. I am currently at the bottom of the page, but if we go ahead and uncheck this, we get a bunch of new big fish added. These are ones that have no time or weather requirements. By default, these are hidden because it's not very important to plan windows around them when you can go to them at any time. However, do be aware that if you want to collect all the big fish, you'll want to make sure this is unchecked so that you're aware that these fish exist. Another advanced setting you can change is to only display fish from a certain expansion or specific patch. In this case, if I only wanted to display ARR fish, I could untoggle all of these other expansions, and you would see again that all of the fish are now only ARR, and my list has gotten a lot shorter. Any pinned fish will ignore any settings and always display at the top. One brief thing I didn't mention in the availability column is this uptime. This just tells you what percentage of the time the fish is available to be caught. Fish with a lower uptime usually have either shorter windows or longer downtimes between windows, and fish with a higher uptime are more frequently available. By default, Carby's tracker will place fish with the lower uptime at the start of your list. So shark tuna is the lowest uptime fish currently available. And if you scroll down here, in 14 minutes, armor fish with a lower uptime, this is the one that's at the start of this list. You can change this by going and in the advanced options, selecting window periods versus overall rarity. You can see now that the upcoming fish are now ordered by when the window is going to start versus how rare that window is. I personally prefer overall rarity as an option because even though, in this case, Madam Butterfly's window is coming up sooner than Armorfish's, because Armorfish is a rarer fish with a lower uptime, I may want to prioritize that fish instead of wasting time going for a fish that is more frequently available. One last option to be aware of is that if you desire to use the fish eyes skill to increase your chances at going for some big fish, you can display those windows by clicking this icon of fish eyes up here. This will display all fish as if you had fish eyes active and will adjust their availability and upcoming windows respectively. Lastly, if you wish to import any of your existing progress into this site, you can do so by clicking these little 3 bars at the top left here, going down to Fish Guide, which will mirror the in-game Fish Guide in terms of its layout. And from there, you could select any fish and mark it as completed, which will then reflect in the tracker overall. Overall, this is a very useful tool and is invaluable for those on the big fish journey. Hopefully this video has helped you understand it a little bit better. If you have any further questions, feel free to let me know. I will have links to both this tracker as well as the fishing Discord in the description of this video. We're always happy to answer questions there. Thank you very much for watching, and good luck on your fishing journey.